Crossing parallel worlds, Lin Qi became a history teacher. When Lin Qi talked about what he had learned in his past life, he attracted countless students. However, after a plane crash and the mysterious veil of an ancient tomb in the desert was lifted, everyone discovered that what Lin Qi said about history, ancient tombs, and mysterious crises was actually true. Nine-headed snake cypress, forbidden woman, nine-legged golden toad, as each picture is revealed one by one. Keywords of the novel. Tomb robbing. Unclear explanation, I am truly a history teacher. No pop-ups, tomb robbing. Unclear explanation, I am truly a history teacher. Download the full text of the text. Tomb robbing. Unclear explanation, I am truly a history teacher. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Call for help. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Call for help. He values talent. He unified the 6 countries with his own strength. He conquered the Yu ethnic group to the south and the Xiongnu to the north, ending the long period of feudal separatism. Do you still think that Emperor Shi is just a tyrant in form? Lin Qi swiped the multimedia screen, and the clear text analysis turned into a colorful portrait of an ancient person. Next to the portrait are 2 large characters written. Yingzheng. Next to Yingzheng, there are 4 big characters written. One Emperor for Eternity. This is his classroom, a compulsory course in university history. As his words fell, a mechanical sound echoed in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Today, the correction history clock in task has been completed, and points will be increased by 10. Host's existing points are 490 points. There is still a gap of 510 points between starting the main quest and redeeming rewards. Lin Qi has become accustomed to the mechanical system prompt sound in his mind. That's right, he's the lucky one who travels thousands of miles, the traveler. On his first day here, he activated the historical archaeological system. Due to the lack of history, as long as he makes corresponding contributions to make up for it, he can earn points. When the accumulated points reach 1,000 points, you can receive system rewards. So, using his knowledge of history from his previous life, Lin Qi easily obtained the qualification certificate for a university history teacher in this world. In order to make his classroom more interesting, he sometimes tells some unofficial stories about tomb raids that he knows. This makes his classroom always full of seats. Meanwhile, a student in the front row immediately exclaimed excitedly. Teacher Lin, in ancient times, did we really have Emperor Shi as an eternal emperor? Behind him, another student excitedly asked loudly. Oh my goodness, there was an emperor in our ancestors who had such great talent and strategy. Teacher Lin, why is there no record of unofficial history or history? Is he real? Teacher Lin, where did you learn all these unofficial stories from? For these questions, Lin Qi replied lightly. Classmates, we need to approach history objectively. Especially for countries like us with a history of 5,000 years or even longer. Although our history may be incomplete, who can't guarantee that there will be an eternal emperor? Otherwise, how can our history survive in the long river? Not finding it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The things I have told my classmates in this class are just a rare part of the complex life of Emperor Shi. As for where these stories came from, the teacher can only say that there is a golden house in the book. Is it a wild history? Time will give us the answer. Lin Qi's voice was plain and indifferent, but everyone present was even more determined to explore history. Just as Lin Qi was about to pick out a few more simple stories to tell, his pocket phone suddenly began to vibrate wildly. Teacher Lin. Help. Teacher Lin, hurry up and save us. I don't want to die here at such a young age. The sound of Gao Yan came out, startling Lin Qi. His voice was filled with fear and despair, with uncontrollable trembling and crying. Lin Qi was somewhat shocked. Gao Yan was once one of Lin Qi's proudest students. Under his guidance, he obtained the opportunity to participate in a national-level archaeological team internship in the first year of passing the postgraduate entrance examination. And I have also appeared on many official guest archaeological live broadcasts. In this school, and even in this archaeological circle, they are among the most famous group of people. How could he encounter danger? Is it at this moment, the students sitting in the classroom seats began to discuss quietly. Who's on the phone? It feels like the voice is a bit familiar. I heard it on TV a few days ago. I remember, this voice belongs to Senior Gao Yan, our school's archaeological representative. And when the public realized that it was Gao Yan's voice, the students excitedly whispered in their seats, discussing. Surprisingly, it's Senior Gao Yan. My goal. Sleeping trough. Is Senior Gao Yan a student of Teacher Lin? I didn't expect Teacher Lin to bring out such students. I have passed away young, and I am in the same generation as Senior Gao Yan. But a few days ago, Senior Gao Yan followed the Western Region support team of the National Archaeological Team to the Northwest Desert, didn't he? Has Senior Gao Yan encountered any danger? Does that mean the archaeological team has also encountered danger? Is it surprising to call Teacher Lin about such a tense and dangerous problem that even the archaeological team cannot solve? Even if Senior Gao Yan encounters difficulties in the National Archaeological Team now, the first thing that comes to mind is still Teacher Lin. Oh, isn't this Archaeology live broadcast? Just watch the live broadcast and you'll know. After many students realized it, they began to open the live broadcast of the archaeological team. At the same time, Gao Yan across from the phone said with a crying voice. Teacher Lin, if you open the official live broadcast of the archaeological team now, you will know what's going on. Teacher Lin, you must save me this time. Lin Qi didn't hesitate and immediately started operating on the multimedia. As soon as the broadcast screen appeared, both the newly arrived students and Lin Qi couldn't help but shrink their pupils. In the picture, countless, densely packed, pitch-black snake-like creatures, spitting crimson snake letters, are sweeping towards humanity. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Horror. An ancient tomb or a snake's nest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Horror. An ancient tomb or a snake's nest. The visuals on the multimedia are very chaotic, and the camera is also very shaky. It looks like photographers are all running away with their cameras in hand. The barrage on the screen is densely packed, with thousands of barrage popping up almost every second. Sleeping slot. I watched an archaeological live broadcast. Isn't it a special disaster science fiction film? I really value science fiction disaster movies. I've never seen such a big scene in a science fiction disaster movie before. Mother, what kind of unlucky thing are these? Fushin Wuliang Heavenly Sovereign, I'm so afraid to sleep tonight. The girl who was scared to sleep during the archaeological live broadcast was politely declined by her brother. Help. Who saw my heavenly spirit cap? My heavenly spirit cap was scared away. Crying to death, no one told me that an archaeological live broadcast can be so scary. Can my heart attack count as a work-related injury? Lin Qi didn't have time to pay attention to these fast-moving barrage. Through this seemingly inferior lens, it can be seen that the archaeological team is currently in a very dim space, which should look like a tomb chamber. In the dim tomb chamber, almost everyone in the picture is retreating and fleeing. At the front are fully armed elite bodyguards. They were desperately shooting towards the front with their weapons in hand. Bullet rainstorm sprayed to the front direction, and the muzzle of the gun emitted golden light. In no time, two team members in front suddenly let out a scream. With almost no buffering time, they covered their necks and fell down. There is no more sound. Old Chen. Enzi. However, the team members didn't have time to grieve, and soon someone in the crowd fell down again. The classroom was filled with the voices of tense and frightened discussions. Oh my goodness! Where have Senior Gao Yan and his team really been? How disgusting! Are these all snakes? What's the situation? Did any bodyguards sacrifice themselves? How come these snakes look like this? I can feel nauseous even by shining light through the screen. How could there be so many snakes? Is this an ancient tomb or a snake nest? Not only the students in the classroom, but also the barrage in the live broadcast room is filled with fear of this snake. How many snakes are there? Here. The archaeological team is not a match for these snakes at all. At this rate of poisoning, there's not enough time for any first aid. Does anyone know the origin of these unlucky things? I am a graduate student in biology. I just asked my professor, and he has no idea what kind of snake this is. Don't even the old professor of biology know what this is. I was already afraid of snakes. Where did such venomous snakes come from? The appearance of those snakes looks very frightening. Their entire body is covered with a layer of very fine and soft black snake scales. On the black scales of the snake, there are numerous red spots distributed. These red spots do not appear to be the original color of these black snakes, but rather like colloidal secretions secreted from beneath the scales of these snakes. What's even more obvious is that these black snakes have a red lump on their heads. These erythema and red sarcomas look as if they are emitting red light in a dimly lit environment. Their swinging speed is extremely fast. Although the members of the archaeological team have almost retreated at their fastest speed, but still unable to avoid the fact that these rapidly moving black glowing venomous snakes are getting closer and closer to them. Even if some venomous snakes are shot into 3 sections, their heads will jump up and launch deadly attacks on outsiders like them. During the short period after Lin Qi opened the live broadcast, the archaeological team has 5 members who have died under the fangs of these venomous snakes. The vast majority of people on the screen are experts and outstanding students who frequently appear on television. At this point, I have completely disregarded my image and my facial features are flying wildly. Lin Qi saw his student Gao Yan at a glance. At the same time, Gao Yan's despair and piercing screams were once again heard from the live broadcast and Lin Qi's phone. He suppressed his fear, took big breaths, and quickly asked. Western region's ancient tombs. Stone tomb. Poisonous snakes guarding the tomb. The crisis we encountered is exactly the same as the story you told about the ancient tombs in the western regions. Now, I request you to rescue our entire archaeological team. For a moment, 100 or so pairs of eyes in the history classroom looked in the direction of Lin Qi in unison. In each pair of eyes, there is a strong expectation and deep shock. At this moment, Lin Qi, who had watched this live broadcast, fully understood where Gao Yan and his companions were now. They were actually inside an ancient tomb in a tomb-raiding novel he had read in his previous life. And they are clearly located in the tomb of Prince Gumo, who is determined to assassinate the Queen Jingjue. This is so special. 10,000 Kaonama flew over Lin Qi's heart. He always thought that stealing pens and ghost lamps were just fabrications. Now the world tells him it's actually true. This and just as he recognized this ancient tomb as the tomb of Prince Gumo. In Gao Yan's mind, a system prompt sounded. Ding! The host has successfully identified the ancient tomb. Congratulations to the host for triggering an important branch task. Pointing out the tomb of Prince Gumo. After successful guidance, you can earn system points and exchange them for system rewards. Does the host accept it? Lin Qi almost chose to accept without hesitation. Not only for system rewards. More importantly, he knew that if it were the tomb of Prince Gumo, there wouldn't be much time left for the entire archaeological team. Lin Qi calmed down and immediately said. Xiaoyan, use the flare, these venomous snakes are afraid of strong light. Bullets can't kill these things, and there's always a moment when the bullet hits empty. Upon hearing Lin Qi's voice, Gao Yan immediately shouted to the captain of the bodyguard. Captain Chen, Captain Xing, use flash bullets. These snakes are afraid of light. For a moment, everyone in the entire tomb fell silent, holding on to their last hope of survival, listening to Gao Yan's next words. Gao Yan loudly said. Use a flare. Captain Zhang. Use the flash grenade quickly. This. Captain Chen and Captain Xing exchanged a glance at each other with a serious expression of confusion. However, in times of crisis, they know that time is money. And currently, besides shooting, this is the second option. Without hesitation, Captain Chen shouted to the team members. Flash up. The team members took out flares from their equipment. And in the team, all other members of the archaeological team instinctively looked in the direction of Gao Yan. They don't understand the significance of Gao Yan's suggestion. And this suggestion sounds too outrageous. You should know that they always carried firelight and lights along the way. Although these lights were not as effective as flash bullets, discerning people could see that those snakes sensed the light as if it had stimulated the power of beasts inside their bodies, not like snakes who were afraid of flash bullets. Unless those snakes show a false appearance. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The entire army was destroyed, it's just a matter of time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The entire army was destroyed, it's just a matter of time at this moment, inside the live broadcast room. The barrage of incomprehensible comments from the audience has already boiled up. Who said this? Have you already been scared out of your wits, Gao Yan? Gao Yan, didn't the bodyguards already use the searchlight, king, inside to illuminate at that time? Nothing happened, did they? How can we stop shooting? At this point, we need to use firepower to give the archaeological team more escape time. Racing against time. How can we give up shooting and use flash bullets? Isn't this giving the venomous snake an opportunity to take advantage of? Gao Yan, you're confused. Now using the flash grenade will make the venomous snake see you even more clearly. As the audience in the live broadcast room was discussing, Captain Xing also reacted. He loudly stopped the team members who had prepared the flash bombs. No way. The impact of flash bombs on our combatants is also significant. At this point, if a venomous snake takes a loophole, the consequences are unimaginable. Once the shooting stops, it may lead the snake pack to find a place to attack and instead cause us all to die here. We cannot joke about our lives. For a moment, a dense and piercing sound of gunfire rang out again from inside this huge tomb chamber. Upon hearing Captain Xing's decision, Captain Chen couldn't help but hesitate. He glanced at Gao Yan and ultimately chose to continue shooting. Gao Yan anxiously shouted loudly. This is not nonsense. This is what my history teacher told me. His research on tombs surpasses all of us. You have to believe me, really, and my teacher may have been to this tomb before. I have heard everything here in his class. With a flash grenade, we can definitely live. Captain and Captain, please believe me. For a moment, everyone in the entire tomb chamber looked towards Gao Yan with shock. Now using flash bullets is already the second best option. What shocked them even more was a history teacher who gave Gao Yan a lesson on tomb raiding. And maybe I've been here before. How could something that could not have appeared in this world have been possible if it hadn't exploded outside of a plane crash in the live broadcast room? What the hell is the history teacher? How can Xiao Gao go back and seek help from his own history teacher at this time? Can this history teacher take responsibility for what he has said? This is a person who is very important for the historical restoration of Dexiao. History teacher, don't harm them. Let's quickly find a way out. This person is just a history teacher. What do you know about ancient tombs? I'm a bit curious, does Gao Yan, such an excellent student, really have a very talented history teacher? It's already a matter of life and death. Surprisingly, the person Gao Yan trusts the most is the history teacher who is not even present at the scene. What is the origin of this history teacher? How dare you open your mouth and come like this with a flash grenade? But soon the art style suddenly changed. A prominent doctoral student from the Department of Archaeology, with a large V, spoke up. Brothers, Gao Yan is right. The flash bomb should really be able to solve the snake swarm. What? My goodness. Is it really fake? Are you sure you're not joking? I'm sorry, I never joke. Teacher Lin Qi's understanding of tombs exceeds everyone I know, including my new teacher. He once said in class that the flash bomb is a strong light that can blind a snake pack 100% and is permanent. Before his barrage could fall, another big V appeared. This great V is actually a top archaeologist in the field of archaeology at Qingbei University, known as Zhang Dashan, the only young generation to receive the position of archaeology professor at the age of 30. Please believe Mr. Gao Yan, I am lucky to have been in class and listened to Mr. Lin Qi's lesson. It was exactly this lesson about tombs of ancient countries in the western regions. If I didn't believe it at the beginning, we must believe the truth from the archaeological team down to the time when the experience is almost the same as what the teacher said. Wow! As soon as this sentence is spoken, the entire live broadcast room is completely fried. If one or two big verses speak up, it may be hype, but these are all students of a history teacher, and they are all divine beings. They are all talking about a history teacher, and what they say is true. And many people have also exposed Gao Yan's identity. The younger generation, second only to the two who just spoke, is one of the most promising tycoons to secure a professorship. At the most critical moment, what he was thinking was not to escape desperately, but to seek the help of a history teacher. It can be seen how important history teachers are. Mi Chao. It's possible that using a flash bomb to bomb a group of snakes is real. How do I feel so magical? Isn't it, isn't it? Has this history teacher ever been buried? No, this group of venomous snakes is raised by a history teacher. So, why is the history teacher actually a tomb robber? Faced with the crooked live broadcast room, many people turn their attention once again to the tomb. The leading professor this time is somewhat confused by the current situation. But soon someone next to him reminded him to watch the live broadcast room, and the student next to him handed the professor a mobile phone. When he saw Zhang Dashan, he immediately took out his phone and dialed his number. Xiao Shan, what you said is all true. Zhang Dashan's voice immediately came out of his phone. As sure as fate, I used to think that teacher Lin Qi was just talking about the history of tomb raids. But when I saw the live broadcast, I realized that what teacher Lin Qi was talking about was actually a historical fact. According to what teacher Lin Qi said at the time, if we use bullets to consume it, the whole army was destroyed, it's just a matter of time. Zhang Dashan's voice was also very urgent, he was completely urging the archaeological team. Don't hesitate. Professor, please make sure to trust teacher Lin. Zhang Dashan has always been proud of his achievements. He once threatened to catch up with all the senior professors over 60 years old in the archaeological team within 5 years. But now, I am showing great respect to a seemingly small history teacher. It can be seen that this mysterious history teacher has amazing cultivation in the field of ancient tombs. At this moment, at the site of the ancient tomb, although Xing Chang's gaze had been fixed on the crisis ahead, he also noticed the faces of the professor and others. He saw the hesitation of several professors and the urgency in Gao Yan's eyes. Seeing this, Xing Chang's heart was horizontal, shout loudly. Flash up. As he spoke, he took out one of his glittering bullets, opened the pull tab, and threw it into the snake pack. Along with him, several flash bombs were thrown into the snake swarm. 2 seconds later, a dazzling white light burst out from the snake pack. Everyone was also stabbed and closed their eyes. This white light only lasted for a few seconds. After the white light disappeared, the entire tomb chamber fell silent. Even the sound of the venomous snake advancing before has disappeared. The live broadcast room was also shocked by a burst of white light. Not being able to hear sound does not mean good. In everyone's perception, since humans cannot see and venomous snakes cannot see, once everything is restored, everyone will return to the same starting line again. Moreover, the reactions of these venomous snakes in the darkness are definitely stronger than those of humans. Almost everyone in the live broadcast room is not optimistic about all of this. But soon, someone realized something was wrong. Damn it, look at it. I'll go, what's the situation? Wait. All the people in the live broadcast room stared wide-eyed, then came the sound of gasping for breath. After the flash effect ends. The members of the archaeological team archaeology professors. Audiences. Gao Yan. Zhang Dashan. Millions of people in the entire live broadcast room were all shocked by the scene before them. Where the gaze can reach. I saw that the tide of venomous snakes, which had just forced them to a place where they could not be buried, was actually stationary in place. The red glowing sarcoma on the snake's body has disappeared and disappeared. There are only pure black stripes left, like roasted black venomous snake corpses piled densely on the ground. This flare is not just blinding these venomous snakes. It's simply killing these venomous snakes. Everyone looks foolish. Even people like Gao Yan and Zhang Dashan who have listened to Lin Qi's courses are foolish. And everyone in Lin Qi's class. Everyone stared at Lin Qi in amazement. Is he really just a history teacher? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Is the history teacher a tomb thief? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Is the history teacher a tomb thief? At the first moment, all the viewers in the live broadcast room were boiling. Sleeping slot. Did someone change the channel for me? I'm saved. Is that all you need? Just a flare. The history teacher is right. These snakes are really afraid of flash bullets. But how did this history teacher know about this? Just now, both Gao Yan and Dr. Zhang said that this teacher already knew about this ancient tomb. It shouldn't be that he really came here. Shocked, this history teacher is actually a tomb robber. Xiaoyan, where is your history teacher talking about tomb raiding stories? He's talking about his own rotation. When the barrage boiled, the live broadcast room where Lin Qi was located also boiled. The entire classroom was filled with cheers from young students. Great! Teacher Lin. You saved the archaeological team. Teacher Lin. You're so amazing. Teacher Lin. How do you know these venomous snakes are afraid of flash bombs? Teacher, I want to learn this. At the same time, the members of the archaeological team who survived the disaster suddenly came to their senses. This history teacher. Surprisingly, only one phone call and a few words were used. It solved the catastrophic disaster of the entire archaeological team. They have gained a chance to survive. They were saved by this history teacher. Xiaoyan. Professor Chen, who was leading the team, looked at Gao Yan excitedly and said, "Give me your phone. I want to personally thank this teacher." Gao Yan gave his phone to Professor Chen. Professor Chen took the phone and immediately said excitedly to Lin Qi. "Hello. I am Chen Dihai, the leader of the Western Region's Tombs branch of the National Archaeological Team. Please allow me to express my sincere gratitude on behalf of the archaeological team to you. It's your suggestion. It saved our entire archaeological team." Lin Qi said calmly on the phone. "I should contribute to the excavation of the country's history to the best of my ability. As a history teacher, I share the same determination as other professors to restore history." After speaking this set of official language, Lin Qi appeared very calm on the surface. However, in his heart, there was already a grass mud horse galloping past on the prairie. Lin Qi's heart was also clamoring. How could the tomb of Prince Gumo, which I saw in a tomb raiding novel in my past life, really exist? He was in class at that time, really just to add fun to the class, just casually saying it. Don't ask him how he found out about this ancient tomb. Across the phone, Chen Dihai's voice was still very excited. Teacher Lin Qi, besides thanking you, I also want to apologize to you. Please allow me, on behalf of all the team members, to express my sincere apologies for the impolite questioning you just now. Chen Dihai bowed deeply to the camera as he spoke. After Chen Dihai bowed, all the other members inside the tomb followed closely behind. They all bowed in unison to Lin Qi, who was watching this scene. This is an unprecedented scene for archaeological live streaming. The audience in the live broadcast room immediately became boiling again. Sleeping slots. There are one team after another, and they are all respected entities in their own fields, right? What kind of long-awaited scene is this? Jew. If it weren't for Teacher Lin, the archaeological team might have been completely destroyed by now. What kind of scene can make these people bow to a person in unison? Not only the archaeological team needs to apologize. Anyone who just scolded Teacher Lin should step forward and apologize. What about those people who just scolded Teacher Lin as restless and kind-hearted laymen? Apologize. Apologize to Teacher Lin. Or maybe it's Teacher Lin. The archaeological team was killed by the so-called expert just now. The barrage was boiling, but inside the ancient tomb, there was a moment of silence. Everyone keeps their heads extremely low. I deeply apologize for my rude behavior towards Lin Qi just now. The grass mud horse in Lin Qi's heart is still galloping. But now it has slowed down slightly. Because it seems that no one has asked him how he found out about this ancient tomb yet. However, the next moment, Chen Dihai raised his head first and asked Lin Qi very sincerely. Teacher Lin, I have another question. Lin Qi. For some reason, Lin Qi felt a very bad premonition. In preparation for the realization of his premonition, he had already started to fabricate lies in his heart. Sure enough. Chen Dihai then asked. Teacher Lin, why do you know these snakes so well? Why do you know so much about this ancient tomb? Have you really been here before? Chen Dihai's questions also reminded other members of the archaeological team. This is a thought-provoking and terrifying question for them. How could Lin Qi know so much about this ancient tomb? The barrage instantly boiled up. Yeah. How could Teacher Lin know so much about this ancient tomb? Isn't the archaeological team the first person to discover the existence of this ancient tomb? The first person is Teacher Lin. Didn't Dashan and Xiaoyan both talk about it? Teacher Lin told them about the unofficial history of tomb raids. Tomb raids. Shocked, is the identity behind Teacher Lin actually a tomb robber? That's not a history of tomb raids, brothers. That's Teacher Lin's personal experience. I am Teacher Lin's own student, and Teacher Lin often tells us stories of tomb raiding and unofficial stories, which are very vivid. Can 55555 be considered as Teacher Lin's meritorious service? I really like Teacher Lin's class. Laugh and make a fortune. This is my own student. I'll convict Teacher Lin first. At the same time, the students in Lin Qi's classroom looked at their teachers with a stunning gaze. How could it be that Teacher Lin, who is so humorous, could be a tomb robber? But the tomb raiding story told by Teacher Lin is really realistic. I have asked this question more than once. Listen to the voices of students in the classroom, and then look at the barrage on the multimedia screen. Lin Qi felt that the running speed of the grass mud horses in his mind was faster. Standing up in shock amidst dying illness, the tomb robber turned out to be me, Lin Qi. Lin Qi said that he has now eaten a bowl of national food with his abilities. There's no need to eat another bowl. He quickly calmed down and explained over the phone. Because I am a history teacher. These are all what I see from many books related to history. Don't misunderstand my identity, water enthusiasts in the live broadcast room. I am a powerless civil service teacher, teaching history separately in my textbooks. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Is he a tomb thief? Official entry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Is he a tomb thief? Official entry. The members of the archaeological team and the audience in the live broadcast heard Lin Qi's explanation. Coincidentally, I feel that the credibility is extremely low. A student in Lin Qi's classroom loudly said. But, Teacher Lin. We don't have many books related to history right now, does ya? Lin Qi's mouth twitched twice. That's right, this parallel world doesn't have many history books at all. Lin Qi smiled and said. This requires students to have a pair of discerning eyes. At the same time, the music for the end of class sounded very timely. Chen Dihai listened attentively on the phone. He knew that Lin Qi's class had already ended, but he didn't think much about it. Finally, he quickly asked Lin Qi. Teacher Lin, do you have any other knowledge about this ancient tomb? This ancient tomb is very important to us, but this is the first time we have encountered such a dangerous situation. Can you tell us what else is left for this ancient tomb? What should we do? Although Lin Qi recognized that this ancient tomb was the tomb of Prince Gumo. But in fact, this tomb is not exactly the same as described in his memory of tomb raiding novels. If he rashly instructed the archaeological team in advance according to the content of the novel, it may lead to a crisis that wouldn't have happened before. I haven't been here before, and I don't know what else is inside this ancient tomb. But based on all the books I have read, the appearance of these venomous snakes is already a danger signal. So next, don't touch anything recklessly. Chen Dihai quickly responded. Okay, thank you very much, Teacher Lin. If we encounter difficulties, we will call you again for advice. After a few more polite words, the two hung up the phone. He glanced at the screen in the live broadcast room. The members of the archaeological team were too frightened just now and sacrificed several members. The blow it brought them was quite significant. So now I am resting in place and taking care of the aftermath. Lin Qi couldn't help feeling a bit sad. He never expected to encounter such a dangerous ancient tomb in this world. Compared to this dangerous ancient tomb, the archaeological team in this world is so immature that they are just hatched chicks. Fortunately, he also has some knowledge of tomb raiding novels. Seeing that the archaeological team had no intention of moving forward for the time being, Lin Qi turned off the live broadcast on the multimedia. At this point, his personal account has suddenly increased from dozens of fans to hundreds of thousands of fans. Subsequently, Lin Qi had the students finish class. However, after class, the students did not leave the classroom, but rushed to report loudly to him. Teacher Lin. You're on the trending list. Teacher Lin. You're all over the news now. Lin Qi glanced at his phone. Suddenly, I felt like my head had grown twice. The grass mud horse that is racing in its heart has no intention of stopping. Fury. I saw that in the first few hot searches, it was actually his name. #shocked. The National Archaeological Team is in a moment of life and death, and the history teacher can easily resolve it. Even venomous snakes are afraid of strong light, and they say you're not a tomb raider. A history teacher from a top university in Daxia, whose predecessor was actually a tomb robber. Do you think the history teacher is talking about tomb raiding history, but in fact, he is talking about rotation. Lin Qi's mouth twitched. Even in this world, spreading rumors is illegal. Lin Qi explained to his students. Classmates, all of this knowledge is derived from books. There is a golden house in books, and I hope students can also develop the good habit of reading more books. Hurry up and prepare what you need for the next class. Read for the rise of summer. After speaking, Lin Qi quickly returned to the office. Just as Lin Qi sat firmly in his seat, a familiar mechanical female voice came to his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Successfully guided the archaeological team to avoid the major crisis of the ancient tomb and received a reward of 2,000 points. The host has accumulated over 1,000 points, unlocked the system reward function. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the beginner's first draw gift package. 1,000 points can give you 10 consecutive draws. May I ask if the host chooses to use it? Lin Qi did not hesitate. Use. Novice gift pack, this is definitely something you can't miss. Soon, the system replied to him. Ding! 10 consecutive draws have been completed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the system reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Woyang Divine Shovel. The digging speed is very fast and effortless, with the ability to kill and bury. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a set of outdoor action equipment, which is waterproof, cold-resistant, and provides the best experience for the host's outdoor action. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the Qiankun bag, a basic environmental protection version, in the form of a green shopping bag, with a capacity of 300 pounds. Ding! Congratulations on the array, obtaining a beauty bonus. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a gold medal that can ward off evil spirits. Upon hearing this, Lin Qi slowly lowered the corner of his mouth that had already been raised. What breed of non-chieftain is he? How could someone's golden fingers easily destroy the sky and earth, and turn over the sky? Is he something that sounds so ordinary? And how do these things sound like a Tomb Raider's 3-piece set? But the system ignored the emotions of its host and continued to broadcast the remaining 4 results of the 10 consecutive draws. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have obtained the black gold ancient blade, which weighs 1,000 pounds and has the attribute of recognizing the master. It can cut iron like mud and be invincible. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining Kiran's precious blood, driving away hundreds of insects, subduing fierce beasts, and not invading any poison. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the basic talisman technique. You can use yellow talismans, chicken blood, and black ink as carriers to lower the body and ward off evil spirits. Ding! Congratulations to the host, who has gained the power to resist Qianjun and possesses the divine power to shake Qianjin. The last 4 rewards finally gave Lin Qi hope for his future lottery. He gladly accepted these rewards. All the props awarded to him by the system just now appeared on the desk in front of him. Lin Qi looked at these dazzling things and felt his whole body's blood ignited. However, it is not just the result of Lin Qi's passionate response to these rewards. But it's the result of the Qilin blood working inside his body at this moment. At the same time, Lin Qi also realized that having these rewards would only make them useful if he personally went to the grave. But he cannot take the initiative to bring up this matter. Otherwise, the tomb robber's hat would have been stuck on his head. In the remaining time, Lin Qi gave another student a history class. His phone did not ring again, indicating that the archaeological team had not encountered any problems they could not solve again. However, Lin Qi still decided to follow the archaeological team down to the grave as an excuse. And just as he returned home with such thoughts, he was shocked by the scene before him. I saw several official red card cars parked at the entrance of his unit. There are several radio cars left. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Blood Red Sand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Blood Red Sand. Those official cars with red cards are all at the national level. Without any major issues, it is absolutely impossible to drive into such residential areas. Moreover, the vehicles on these radio stations are also owned by the official Yangshi. It is a national event on the news broadcast. On the outskirts of these vehicles, there is also a circle of fully armed bodyguards. Everyone was packaged very tightly, with live ammunition and only a pair of eagle-like eyes exposed under the helmet. And the reporters in front, as well as those who were clearly officials, were asking similar questions to the residents passing by. "Excuse me, does Professor Lin Qi from Daxia University of History and Archaeology live here?" Lin Qi's scalp tingled. The grass-mud horse raced wildly in his heart. "No, it's not. Did someone come to catch him so soon? He was originally innocent. But now, in the green version of his Qiankun bag, there are still bright Luoyang shovels and gold symbols inside. Although people in this world may not necessarily recognize these two things. But if there is anyone who knows how to do it, then he really can't even wash himself off by jumping into the Yellow River." While Lin Qi was pondering whether or not to start running now, a sharp-eyed neighbor in front of him had already noticed him. The old lady shouted loudly with a dialect accent. "Ah! Isn't that Teacher Lin Qi?" And other curious neighbors also noticed Lin Qi's presence. "Yes. That's Teacher Lin. This is the Teacher Lin Qi you're looking for." For a moment, everyone's attention was focused on Lin Qi. Now Lin Qi really can't run even if he wants to. A few neighbors dressed in bright clothes looked at him with lively eyes. Very deliberately said, "Teacher Lin, have you committed something? Why did the official cause such a big battle to arrest you?" "I can't tell, Teacher Lin. You usually look so gentle, how could you cause such a big deal? Unfortunately, you're still so young." Even more so, some people expressed dissatisfaction with Lin Qi's appearance. The person angrily said, "Teacher Lin, why did you make such a big fuss? If the reputation here goes bad, all the houses here will depreciate. Do you know what a huge loss this is?" Sigh. With these unfortunate neighbors, Lin Qi was even more certain. These people are here to catch him. Just when he was making a choice between confronting his neighbor first or pretending to recognize the wrong person, not knowing his neighbor at all, and not being a choice for Lin Qi himself. The official personnel have quickly walked towards him. Moreover, the old man in charge, Lin Qi, looked a bit familiar. When the old man walked in front of him, Lin Qi finally recognized who this person was with a sudden realization. "Isn't this Professor Chen whom I saw in the live broadcast room today? In the morning, he was still inside the ancient tomb. In the evening, you actually came back. Is this ancient tomb not even the tomb of Prince Gumo? Is the black venomous snake just a coincidence?" However, Lin Qi could still tell at a glance that Chen Dihai's condition was extremely poor. His face was pale, and he was sweating profusely on his forehead. "The clothes on my body are no longer the same as those worn in the ancient tomb." While Lin Qi was puzzled and his neighbors were waiting to watch the excitement, Chen Dihai bowed deeply to Lin Qi. That's a pure 90-degree bow. The neighbors around were all shocked and their eyes were wide open, staring in disbelief at the direction of Professor Chen and Lin Qi. In their opinion, the positions of the two people should be completely opposite now. The neighbors were whispering around. "Sleeping trough, what's the situation? Is this Professor Chen Dihai? Why did he bow to Lin Qi?" Professor Chen Dihai is the leader of our Great Xia Archaeology and a great contributor to our Great Xia Archaeological work. Why did Professor Chen bow to Lin Qi? There is a huge difference in identity between these two people. How could this be? What happened today? Did Lin Qi do something big? I don't know, I've been working all day today. I just came back from work and saw this scene. Me too. I just finished work and thought Teacher Lin Qi was going to be arrested. Just as the neighbors around were puzzled, Chen Dihai loudly and sincerely said, "Teacher Lin, please rescue the archaeological team. With Chen Dihai's almost tearful request, the neighbors around only felt a burning pain in their faces. I didn't expect so many official people not only came to arrest Lin Qi. On the contrary, it is seeking help from Lin Qi. They all received an invisible but loud slap on their faces. Everyone hardly dares to see Lin Qi's current reaction. Just now, while watching the lively neighbor, he quickly changed his face to Lin Qi. Oh my, I just said that teacher Lin has won several excellent teaching positions from top universities at a young age. He is definitely not an ordinary teacher. Yeah. Having a teacher like Lin Qi in our community really brings glory to our community. However, Lin Qi did not give these disdainful neighbors a good face. He gave them a cold glance. The neighbors who just spoke sarcastically all involuntarily shrank back. I don't know why, Lin Qi today has such a strong aura. At a glance, they felt a chilling intimidation. Lin Qi lifted Chen Dihai, who had bowed deeply, and calmly asked. Professor Chen, did something happen later? Chen Dihai looked up and saw Lin Qi's first glance. He immediately burst into tears and said. Teacher Lin, we have let down your instructions. Lin Qi felt like he had already guessed something. Chen Dihai tearfully said. Teacher Lin, if you have time, can you come with me to board the car? Lin Qi followed Professor Chen onto a TV station car. After getting on the car, a dignified journalist consciously handed a tablet to Lin Qi. On the screen, there is a paused recording. Lin Qi opens. On the screen, the archaeological team has left the tomb and arrived at a place like an ear chamber. This place is covered in sand. Many things are buried under the sand. The camera caught a stone statue with a strong Western style. That is a huge face, with two eyes that look particularly eye-catching, and patterns painted on the stone statue. The members of the archaeological team screamed in surprise. An old professor excitedly wanted to explore the truth. Gao Yen reminded him. Professor Sun, Teacher Lin said, it's better not to move the things here. The old professor said seriously. Is this the archaeological spirit we should have? If we don't study anything, why do we still call it archaeological research? As he spoke, he excitedly touched the stone statue. However, the next moment, a sheet of blood-red sand suddenly exploded in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The archaeological team personally goes off to request Lin Qi for archaeology. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 8. Black Donkey Hooves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Black Donkey Hooves. Faced with Chen Dihai's invitation, Lin Qi quickly made a decision in his heart. He already needed a reasonable reason to personally go to the grave. Unexpectedly, there is no place to search for broken iron shoes, and it takes no effort to obtain them. The opportunity unexpectedly came to his door voluntarily. Of course he wants to catch it. Moreover, for Lin Qi in his previous life, this was an opportunity that he never encountered. The ancient tomb, which can only be seen in unofficial history, literature, and strange stories in the past, now has the opportunity to personally explore. The most important thing is that only by going to the grave can his system rewards be used. Although Lin Qi was very eager in his heart, he agreed with great reserve. Make up for historical and cultural differences, so that the descendants of the Xia can have a sense of belonging and pride in their hometown. This is our unshirkable mission as every Xia person. I am willing to accept the invitation from the archaeological team. Upon hearing Lin Qi's answer, Chen Dihai's eyes immediately lit up. At this moment, his old eyes were filled with hope for the future. Teacher Lin. I see the hope of our young generation in the Xia in you. You have this realization, it's a blessing for our Xia history education. At the same time. Upon hearing Lin Qi's answer, the audience in the live broadcast room became boiling. This is the pattern. Teacher Lin is really kind-hearted. I am Teacher Lin's student, and Teacher Lin often tells us about reading for the rise of summer. Only teachers who hold the country in their hearts can cultivate excellent next generation. If I had such a history teacher, I wouldn't have failed so many times. In addition to these, there are also many personality shock and anger on the bullet screen. Especially those accounts with IDs displayed as experts. How could an ordinary history teacher participate in such an important activity? Professor Chen is confused. How many years of professional learning and exams do ordinary people have to go through before they can participate in such an important archaeological activity? I think next time we go, we should prepare enough weapons, that's all. The key issue is that this history teacher is too young. A white-faced scholar who comprehends such dangerous and important archaeological work would be a hindrance. I am an expert in the field of biology and have now sent a letter of invitation to the authorities. Only someone like me has the qualifications to participate in such archaeological work in an exceptional manner. I am a wilderness survival expert and a native of D country. Your exploration activities are too limited, and I am willing to provide friendly assistance to you. This kind of ancient tomb should seek professionals in the professional field, Professor Chen. The female journalist who was watching this live broadcast frowned slightly as she watched the barrage. She called out softly. Professor Chen. You need to take a look at these bullet comments. Chen Dihai saw these negative barrage at a glance. His hopeful gaze at Lin Qi just now disappeared instantly. When Chen Dihai looked up at the camera, his expression became particularly indifferent. Inviting Teacher Lin to guide us down to the grave together is a decision unanimously agreed upon within our official team. This live broadcast is just a notification to all audience friends. I'm not soliciting the opinions of my audience friends. With Chen Dihai's outburst, the previously negative barrage on the screen instantly quieted down. And the experts who expressed their opinions on the screen just now. My face is burning with pain. I didn't expect Professor Chen to really value a small history teacher so much. Compared to this history teacher, the experts in these majors have no face in Professor Chen's eyes. When Chen Dihai looked at Lin Qi again, he regained his amiable attitude. Teacher Lin, we will send someone to pick you up in 3 days. Do you have anything we need to prepare before this? Lin Qi really needs something that the authorities need to prepare. Based on his previous understanding of this ancient tomb, he said. There really is. Professor Chen quickly said to the female journalist on the side. Bing Bing, listen to what Teacher Lin says and take note of everything. Bing Bing quickly took out a notebook and was ready to record Lin Qi's words. Lin Qi saw that Bing Bing was ready and said. Flash bombs, tear gas, high-quality candles, black donkey hooves, glutinous rice, yellow paper, chicken blood, and ink. The following are all things he inferred from his system rewards that he might need. His basic talismanship requires yellow talismans, chicken blood, and ink as carriers. Preparing black donkey hooves and glutinous rice is also a way for archaeologists to defend themselves in a timely manner. But the icy pen stopped when it heard the black donkey's hooves. Black donkey hooves. Bing Bing really can't think of which 4 words these are. Is it the hooves of a black donkey in this literal sense? No. It's definitely not that simple. How could it be possible to use the hooves of black donkeys in archaeological work? This must be some professional term. Teacher Lin is referring to professional terminology used in archaeology. And she was ignorant and didn't know what it was. Upon hearing the sticky rice and chicken blood behind, Bing Bing became even more confused. Aren't these all food items? Is this Teacher Lin's taste hobby? After hesitating for a while, Bing Bing finally lifted her head and looked at Chen Dihai with a pleading gaze, saying. Sorry Professor Chen. I don't quite understand what this black donkey hoof is about professionally. At this moment, Chen Dihai was even more puzzled. Not to mention being icy, Even an old professor with decades of archaeological work experience like him doesn't know what this black donkey hoof means. Are these black donkey hooves, like glutinous rice and chicken blood, something that Lin Qi likes to eat? Chen Dihai hesitated for a moment and said to Lin Qi. Teacher Lin, our archaeological work usually follows a unified diet. On the one hand, it is convenient to carry, and on the other hand, it is also because anything can happen inside the ancient tomb, and we will prepare some easy-to-operate fast food. But these fast foods are all developed by the Xia Academy of Sciences, and their taste is not bad either. We can prepare these things for you before departure or after returning. At the same time, the barrage had already exploded wildly again. What is it? Isn't this history teacher joking? Teacher Lin, tell me directly that you're hungry. What kind of thing? Are these all your personal desires for food? I haven't seen anyone who even seeks personal gain while eating. Professor Chen. You can withdraw the invitation now. This teacher is not serious about wanting to cooperate with you either. You're going to the grave to work, not to enjoy life. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Tomb of the Exquisite Queen and the Tomb of Prince Gumo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Tomb of the Exquisite Queen and the Tomb of Prince Gumo. The experts who were just suppressed by a sentence from Chen Dihai. Now it's making a comeback. Still young. I don't know how important this archaeological work is for us in the summer. How could such a person participate in such an important archaeological work for us in the summer? What does this young man need? Are you not responsible for others' lives, and not for your own lives? Absolutely outrageous. It's too outrageous. Absurdity. I suggest the official take a look at my letters. Only with my identity can I break the barrier and enter such a team. Upon hearing these things, even the audience who were initially happy that Lin Qi could join this archaeological work hesitated. After all, these few things are not something that should appear in archaeological work no matter how they sound. These things should all appear in the summer program on the tip of the tongue. Lin Qi didn't know what had become of chaos on the barrage at this moment. He just answered Chen Dihai's question and said, Professor Chen, this is not what I want to eat. These are all the necessary items for this ancient tomb. Just as important as the flash bomb used to deal with black snakes. Upon hearing this, a series of outrageous comments flashed across the barrage. However, the familiar ID reappeared. Zhang Dashan's barrage appeared slowly on the screen. I didn't expect to see Teacher Lin on the live broadcast. I almost missed such a wonderful live broadcast. Professor Chen. You must believe Teacher Lin's words. I have missed many classes with Teacher Lin. So far, Teacher Lin has talked about all the venomous snakes and ant nests you encountered in the ancient tomb. Just because at that time, Teacher Lin treated these as unofficial stories and didn't explain them deeply enough. But he definitely knows how these crises are resolved. My advice to these experts who rely on the elderly to sell their products is that you should stop suggesting it. All of your qualifications combined are not enough for Teacher Lin to understand this ancient tomb alone. Teacher Lin has also mentioned some examples of using strange ways to solve crises before, such as tomb robbers using gold charms to ward off evil spirits. I think that's why Teacher Lin brought these things. Zhang Dashan's barrage has appeared, causing a new wave of excitement in the live broadcast room. If Dashan said that, I think it might really make sense for Teacher Lin to ask for these things. Crouching trough, Zhang Dashan personally stepped down. So you also have such a person to admire, Zhang Dashan. As the most impressive newcomer in the field of archaeology, Zhang Dashan is not even considered by many experts. But Zhang Dashan said that Teacher Lin is the person who knows this ancient tomb the best. Teacher Lin shouldn't have really been to this ancient tomb long ago, right? Unlike fake ones, it is recommended that the relevant departments investigate Teacher Lin/Doghead carefully to ensure their safety. I heard that some tomb raiders do indeed engage in tomb raids in seemingly outrageous ways. Cough cough, how could Teacher Lin behave in the same outrageous way as a tomb thief? At the same time. Upon seeing Zhang Dashan's barrage, Bing Bing immediately handed the tablet to Qin Dihai. Professor Chen, take a look at these. Qin Dihai became nervous as soon as he heard that these absurd things were as important as flash bombs. Seeing Zhang Dashan's barrage now is even more exciting than before. He immediately nodded. Okay. Bing Bing, quickly prepare all the things that Teacher Lin said. He said to Lin Qi again. Don't worry, Teacher Lin. As long as it's something you mentioned that is helpful for this archaeological activity, our official team will definitely prepare the best for you. Upon hearing Qin Dihai's words, the experts in the live broadcast only felt another loud slap fall on their faces. The more confident the old expert is, the more sarcastic the expert is towards Lin Qi, the louder the slap on his face. After Lin Qi finished speaking, Qin Dihai asked again. Teacher Lin, I have a question that I don't know whether to speak properly or not. Lin Qi had a relaxed and cheerful expression on his face, but inside his heart, he was making the grass mud horse roar wildly. Don't ask me why I know about this ancient tomb. Don't ask me if I'm a tomb thief either. Qin Dihai couldn't hear Lin Qi's voice and accurately stepped on Lin Qi's minefield. Teacher Lin, how could you have such a profound understanding of this ancient tomb? Have you been to this ancient tomb before? This should be a line to question the tomb robbers. But when Qin Dihai asked Lin Qi these questions, his eyes were filled with sparkling expectations. Even admiration. Bing Bing, who was beside Qin Dihai, also looked at Lin Qi with the gaze of a young woman looking at a martial arts ranger. If it were other tomb raiders, they would never look at him with such eyes. But Lin Qi really doesn't look like a bad person. As mentioned in the barrage, Teacher Lin has a reasonable appearance. At the same time, the audience in the live broadcast room also started watching the excitement. I asked. Professor Chen finally asked. Teacher Lin, don't be afraid. You're making a name for yourself. Professor Chen asked this question with a high emotional intelligence. Professor Chen, my mouth is changing. Let me translate it for everyone. Professor Chen asked, have you ever stolen a tomb before, Teacher Lin? Why am I still looking forward to Teacher Lilin's identity as a tomb robber when there's a big problem? Why do you want to rob graves when you're so handsome? Isn't it good to come and steal my heart? However, Lin Qi shook his head firmly and said. I only know these things from many books. Lin Qi said, opened his hand, and showed himself. Professor Chen, look at my physique. I don't look like a person who does such crude work as tomb raiding. And I have already armed my thoughts with patriotism, and I will never engage in tomb raids that harm national interests. Professor Chen nodded again. Okay, Teacher Lin, I believe in you. The two of them chatted a few more words inside the car, and Lin Qi got off. Qin Dihai got off the car and personally watched Lin Qi walk towards the unit door. And the neighbors who just wanted to see Lin Qi's joke have all undergone a 180-degree change in attitude now. They all crowded towards Lin Qi. Teacher Lin. You are really the pride of our community. Come to my house for dinner tonight. Lin Qi, will you still rent a house with us? Is your place convenient, Teacher Lin? Why don't you stay in my empty house here? I'll give you rent and property free. Lin Qiwan refused the warm invitation from these greedy neighbors and went straight back to her own home. He took out all the system reward knives from the beginner's Qiankuan bag, full of confidence. The tomb of Prince Gumo no. Exquisite Queen's tomb. I'm here. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Enter the second breathing mouth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Enter the second breathing mouth. Lin Qi took leave in advance at school. The dean looked at Lin Qi's paid leave application, his eyes filled with joy. I am even happier than seeing a petition from a teacher who voluntarily works overtime for free. He also kept praising Lin Qi. Xiao Lin. I've heard your class before. To put it in an exaggerated way, that's really a heavenly melody. Firstly, as an unknown teacher, I taught such excellent students as Gao Yan. Now, as a personally armored military commander, I have joined the National Archaeological team and participated in such a glorious work. Teacher Xiaolin, you are truly the pride of our entire school. Lin Qi was able to receive praise and rewards for taking leave for the first time. The dean not only granted him paid leave, even counted this leave as Lin Qi's extracurricular practice class inspection. During the period of investigation in extracurricular practical courses, Lin Qi can receive a salary 3 times higher than usual. And he also added a lot of transportation subsidies, catering subsidies, accommodation subsidies, and so on. Based on this whole calculation, there is actually a salary of only 4 months. Lin Qi's heart is naturally filled with joy. In the next 3 days, Lin Qi will continue to teach his students according to the previous schedule. However, he can hardly sit in his classroom now. His classroom was already very popular before, often full of seats. But now, it's simply overcrowded. There are even stylized journalists carrying professional equipment to record his classes. But Lin Qi did not change his teaching style due to these changes. In these 3 days, he has talked about a lot of history related to the first emperor in class. Just relying on the content from these history classes has already caused a huge uproar on the internet. Lin Qi's name is starting to appear more and more frequently on hot searches. Hashtag the hottest history course on the internet. Teacher Lin Qi publicly explains the secrets of Qin Shi Huang. Hashtag at the beginning. He dares to tell the history of over 2,000 years ago, no wonder he is a history teacher suspected of being a tomb robber. Hashtag there are no empty seats. Teacher Lin Qi starts a new era of cloud history class. And on these hot search topic squares, there are also tens of thousands of comments. The country owes me a history teacher like Mr. Lin. Let's invite Teacher Lin to open online classes on a blood letter. I will definitely clock in every day. I am never late. Teacher Lin. You are my God. Oh my. This is simply amazing. Does our country really have such a powerful founding emperor? Thank you for Professor Lin's Cloud History class. I really fell in love with history. Teacher Lin's history class really made me deeply understand how important it is to restore the history of our country. Our generation is bound to do so. Our Xia has a history of over 5,000 years. We should stand at the forefront of the world. I must be admitted to the university where Professor Lin is. Attend Professor Lin's history class. Read for the rise of summer. In the past few days when Lin Qi's history class has been open, it can be said that it has sparked an unprecedented wave of learning in the summer. This has almost made Lin Qi's popularity and reputation skyrocket. 3 days passed in an instant. In the morning, Lin Qi heard a knock on the door. He opened the door, and 2 fully armed bodyguards stood at the door. One of them delivered a bulging package to Lin Qi. Teacher Lin, this is what you asked us to prepare before. Everything is the best. Lin Qi had already prepared what he needed. In order to save space, Lin Qi put everything in this beginner version of the Qiankuan bag. And this basic version of the Qiankuan bag was hung on Lin Qi's waist in such a dignified manner. When Lin Qi appeared on the live broadcast with such an image, it quickly caused a sensation. Because no one has ever carried such a green and environmentally friendly shopping bag while conducting archaeological work. In the hall, everyone was whispering and discussing. Is this Mr. Lin who is taking action with us? Gao Yan and Dashan both said that Teacher Lin is very familiar with ancient tombs. Why did he even bring a shopping bag with him? This is too unprofessional. The live broadcast has already been opened for a long time. The staff of the live broadcast team had already shown the camera to Lin Qi as soon as he appeared in the hall. The audience in the live broadcast room also instantly became excited because of Lin Qi's outfit. Sleeping trough. Teacher Lin is here. Congratulations to Teacher Lin. How could I still feel a bit reluctant to attend Teacher Lin's cloud history class these days? Hahaha, you've made a fortune. What's hanging on Teacher Lin's waist? A shopping bag. Teacher Lin shouldn't have been caught here from the mall, right? Teacher Lin, aren't you really going to the ancient tomb to buy for 0 yuan? Don't be too absurd, Teacher Lin. Do you want to be so arrogant? This is the most arrogant tomb raider I have ever seen. Friends, this looks like a shopping bag, but it's actually Teacher Lin's tool for committing crimes. It's not like what's being played. It's recommended to check Teacher Lin/dog head carefully at the end. At the same time, Lin Qi is also observing this hall. This hall is very grand, and almost all the people standing inside are prominent figures in their respective fields. Including the bodyguards and the staff of the live broadcast team, this reorganized team consists of about 30 people. In the hall, when Lin Qi walked in, Chen Dihai personally came to pick him up. Following Chen Dihai is Gao Yan. Chen Dihai extended his hands and shook hands with Lin Qi. Teacher Lin, now I warmly welcome you to join our big family. Gao Yan also excitedly hugged Lin Qi. Teacher Lin. With you around, I feel much more at ease. After chatting for a while in the hall, Chen Dihai began his pre-departure mobilization meeting. Through a somewhat lengthy and formalistic mobilization meeting, Lin Qi learned some basic information about the members of this team. In addition to the surviving members of the previous archaeological team and the essential elite bodyguards, there are also many experts from other fields in this team. A biology expert, an insect expert, and a world-renowned explorer from country D. These are very famous expert-level figures in the international field. Only Lin Qi is an ordinary history teacher. The mobilization speech ended, and everyone embarked on a journey to the western regions. At noon that day, everyone arrived at their destination. Entering the ancient tomb, the archaeological team only spent less than half an hour. They have finished exploring the first tomb chamber, and there are still black snake corpses scattered on the ground. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of the second tomb chamber, which had caused them great losses. Everyone was so nervous that they slowed down their breathing. End of this chapter.